In this video, we're going to look at inserting text boxes and shapes into a PowerPoint slideshow. And I've got a one slide blank slideshow up here. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to insert a new slide. And we'll do title and content again. And this is some options for inserting things here. And there is not an option for a text box. So if you want to do a text box, you have to go to the Insert tab. And here is text box, and what you will get is you'll get this change in your cursor. It's kind of like crosshairs, but the top part is extended, and when you drag the mouse, then you get the four-headed arrow, or the crosshairs rather, for um, dragging and resizing. And once you've got text box in here, it's pretty much like any other two-dimensional object. You can go to the corners and resize it. You can grab the handles on the sides or the top or the bottom and resize it. And the idea of a text box is to insert text into your document. And if we click on it and start typing, it automatically resizes. And if I hit enter, it will continue to give me more space as I go down the page. Whoops. But the height of the text box really doesn't matter. The width will stay fixed, but it shrinks up so that it is just the size of the text that you put in. If you want to change it later, you can try to drag it, and apparently it will not let you do that. So if you want the text box to be a little bigger for some reason, let's say you're going to put a border around it and you want some extra blank lines here, the way you have to do is you have to hit the enter key, and then it will make the text box taller. And when you're formatting a text box, if you want to select anything inside the text box, you can format it individually. So let's make that text red. But if you want to format everything in the text box, you can click on the outside border here, and you notice I've got a solid line now. When I click inside and I try to do some editing, I get a dotted line. This may not show up very well in the video, but anytime you click inside, you will get a dotted line around here, and then you can format individual components of the text box. If you want to format the whole thing, click on the edge here, you'll get a solid line around it, and any formatting you do now is going to apply to everything that's in there. So let's go up here and change the font color. Let's make the font color blue, and everything becomes blue. If I want to do some alignment, I can click on center here and it will be aligned. If I want to make those into a bulleted list, I can click on this, or a numbered list, and everything applies to all of the stuff that's in my text box. When you have a text box selected, you get these drawing tools up here, and if you click on format, there's a bunch of shape styles that are predefined. If you click on more here, it'll do a live preview as we pass over everything. Now, because I've already set the color of the text, it's not going to redo the color for me, but it will redo the fill color here for me. So, and then if you want to customize a little more, you've got some other choices here. We've got some options for filling in the shape. So you can pick a color for filling in the shape, or choose no fill if you want to. You can do a gradient background if you want to. And you can do textures, which I think are mostly pretty ugly. You've also got the option of putting a line around it. So if I want to, let's pick a color for our line. Let's put a green line around it. And I get a skinny line, but if I go up here and click on weight, I can make the line fatter if I want to. And we've got options for effects here. And these are pretty much the same as they are in other tools. For example, if you have shapes or pictures, and we should get a live preview here, although these shadows are pretty narrow. We can do reflections, and there's not much to reflect here because the bottom part of my text box doesn't have anything in it, but you can see the border is going to be reflected. And I can put a glow around the outside. The glow options are more obvious if I pick one of these down here near the bottom, where I've got a big fat glow around the outside, whereas up here you really don't see too much. You can do soft edges, and the further down you go on this list, the more it's going to soften the edges. And if you go past, 5 points here, that's enough to wipe out the line. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go in and we're going to do a shape fill, and we will just pick a light, let's put a little more color in there, a yellow. And now if we go up here and go to shape effects and go to soft edges and kind of work our way down here, now you can see that what it's doing is it's softening up the edges. And you can do a bevel, which basically gives it kind of a 3D effect. The 3D effect is usually a little bit harder to see if you have a border around it, but you can still see it. So, and you can also do rotations if you want to. I don't think you're going to want to do those very often. In addition to the shape, which refers to the entire box, you can also modify the text up here. So if I want to change the color of my text to red, just go up here. If I want an outline for my text, this will kind of give it kind of a 3D effect sometimes, depending on what color you pick for your outline. Um, I'm not sure how useful that one is either. And for text effects, the exact same ones. You can add shadows to your text and make them look kind of 3D. Reflections, glow, bevel, 3D rotation, and there's actually a transform here that will let you change the shape of your text. And with the small amount of text that we have right now, it's not really looking very good when I do this. Depending on the text that you have, it may look a little bit better than this. So you can give some unusual shapes to the text that's in the text box as well. If you want to set the text box to a precise height and width, you can go up here and do it just like you can with any other drawing tools. You can rotate a text box if you just grab it here and kind of move your mouse in a circle. You can rotate that text box to any angle that you want. Okay, let's go back to horizontal. The alignment options are the same. You can align it with other options. Right now there's nothing else, so you can only align it to the slide. But if I had other options on here, other items that were on the slide, I could align them relative to each other. And that is it for text boxes.